We've seen the unrest now for weeks. The reaction to the death of George Floyd on the streets of Minneapolis, national and worldwide protests have brought to the surface some of the unspoken or certainly unacted upon issues related to race relations and discrimination. Congressman Al Green has seen his share of it, being a son of the segregated South, as he describes himself. He joins me now to talk about what he's calling a war on racism and discrimination. Good morning, Congressman. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You offered a resolution on the floor of the House of Representatives about ending racism and discrimination. To what end?
Well, I have filed a resolution that would help us move from what could be a moment to a movement to a department. We need a department of reconciliation so as to take this movement into the future. Too often the movements will stall because they don't have the money, they don't have the force behind them. We're declaring war on racism. We'll have a Department of Reconciliation with a Secretary of Reconciliation whose responsibility it will be to craft a plan and to implement the plan, the strategy, if you will, to end racism and invidious discrimination in all of its forms.
And it sounds great, but considering the progress in those categories the previous hundreds of years in this country, how is it going to gain anything more than just words on a piece of paper into something that makes a difference?
Well, by making it a department that reports directly to the president. The Secretary of Reconciliation will be on the same level as the Secretary of Labor, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Education, all of the various cabinet members. This secretary will be on the same level with them and will have access to a president who can then bring laws, proposals, if you will, to the Congress of the United States of America, and the secretary can make proposals to the Congress of the United States of America. So we'll have a person who has as their responsibility every day to get up and go to work and go to bed with liberation in the form of reconciliation on his or her mind.
Now, you don't, now obviously that would expand the government a little bit, according to those who would say, wait a minute, that's the last thing we need is another expansion of government to deal with something like this. What do you say to those people who, you know that's going to happen, that's part of the conversation that's going to happen?
Well, expansions of government take place when expansions of government are needed. We've expanded the government by trillions of dollars because of this virus. And invidious discrimination, racism is a virus that has been part of this country for far too long now. And we have the power and the ability to do this. I don't say that it's going to be easy to get all of this done. I do believe that it can be done and it should be done. As a matter of fact, immediately after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, there should have been a Department of Reconciliation installed at that time. Because through the years, things have happened that we have to reconcile. We've not settled our differences, especially as it relates to Black Wall Street. No one has ever been prosecuted. There's not been justice brought to the persons who are survivors, in the sense that they are the children, the grandchildren of survivors. No one's been brought to justice. And here in Texas, after the Emancipation Proclamation, after slavery was ended with the 13th Amendment, we still had a convict leasing program wherein people were charged with minor offenses and forced to work for free for corporate America, for landowners. This all has to be reconciled, and that's what this is all about, a Department of Reconciliation.
Boy, that's taking on a big chunk, isn't it, to try to reconcile something that happened 100 years ago?
Well, it is, but remember now, in Germany, there has been a degree of reconciliation. There are no statues of Hitler in Germany. There are no documents that celebrate Nazism and the Nazis. This is what we're talking about. If this department is stood up, you will find that we will eliminate these statues and all of these things that commemorate slavery as some sort of positive institution where slavery has been sanitized. It just won't happen. You might remember in South Africa, there was Truth and Reconciliation. Other countries have done it. We'll be doing what others have done. It's just that we're a little bit late to get it done. Well, but we will get it done.
I'll be keeping track, and obviously you'll let us know how that's going, and I'll be curious to know what kind of feedback and support you get from your brethren in Congress. Let's talk about what's going on right now, the Justice and Policing Act. What's the latest on that, and how you think the House and the Senate versions may or may not be coming together?
Well, the House version is clearly the better version. The Senate seeks to incentivize better police habits and to change the culture. But the House version carries with it the weight of the law. The House would ban no-knock laws in the form of drug raids. The House version would do something about persons who have knees on their necks. We would ban that type of behavior with police officers. This is what took Mr. George Floyd's life. And we saw that happen on TV. Well, the House version is much stronger than the Senate's version. I support the House version of the law. It seems to me that we are at a point in our history now where we need to do something to make sure that officers who commit atrocities in one jurisdiction can't simply move over to another jurisdiction. We need a federal registry to track them. And we need to make sure that departments have the opportunity to avoid hiring people who have committed transgressions.
We have a minute left. I want to ask you about the COVID-19 concerns in your district. What are you hearing, and I know you're on the front lines. You're out there doing an awful lot in your district. What are you hearing from your constituents about their concerns, and what are your concerns going forward?
Well, we're working with the governor's office and with our senator for our district to make sure that we get some testing in our district in the Sunnyside area. Sunnyside has been one of the areas where we've had a high concentration of this disease. So we're trying to get testing in Sunnyside so that we can also follow up with tracing. Testing and tracing are important. That is something that hopefully we'll get started on right away to the extent that it becomes pervasive. I would also add this. Texas, as you know, has opened up, and we're finding that we're having a spike in Texas. We've got to do something to make sure we're prepared to take care of the people who are the victims of this disease. And unfortunately, to a disproportionate extent, they happen to be African Americans and people of color, Latinos. So we have to do something to prepare our communities. We're trying our best to get that done.
Well, I know you'll continue to do that. Congressman Green, thank you for your time and commitment here this morning, and for your commitment to your constituents in your community. Thank you again, and stay safe.
Happy Juneteenth.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you so much.